So we've been talking about solving equations, and today we're going to talk about solving equations with the variables on both sides. So some of our vocab here for us. We have, first thing we always want to do is we want to distribute and combine like terms. So we always want to make sure we can distribute and combine like terms. Then we're going to add, subtract to get our variables to the left and all our numbers to the right. Then you need to multiply or divide to isolate that variable, and that's it. We have two special cases when we have variables on both sides. Our first special case is an equation is true for any value. We call this the identity property. We're going to do a couple of examples later in these notes about how these properties work. Okay, the second equation that we have is an equation where there's no value satisfied. We just simply say that's no solution. Okay, we don't have a solution in any way. Okay, so let's do some examples. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we always get all the letters to the left and all the numbers to the right. So to get all the numbers to the left, we look at the number with the letter that is furthest on the right, which is the 7y. Remember, when we want to move something from one side of the equal sign to the other, we have to do the opposite of what it says. So the opposite in this case, let's get rid of that. The opposite in this case, since it's positive, would be to put a negative 7y underneath it. Remember, whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you're going to have to do it to the other. So we also are going to have to write a negative 7y under the 5y here. Okay, so what's going to happen? Our 8 will come down. Okay, 5y minus 7y is going to give me negative 2y. Okay, the 7y's will cancel out, and our negative 2 will also come down. So now we moved all the letters to the left. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is move all numbers to the right. So we're going to have to do that, move this 8 here. Excuse me. And to do that, since it's positive, we have to put a negative 8 underneath it. And we're also going to have to put a negative 8 under the negative 2. Because again, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side of the equal sign. So these 8's will cancel out. We're going to bring down our negative 2y equals, and the negative 2 minus 8 gives me an answer of negative 10. Our last step, since we have a number and letter right next to each other, is we have to divide by this number that's on the outside of that letter. So what we get is our final answer of y equals positive 5. Now let's look at our second example here. Again, we look to find the letter furthest on the right, which in this case is C. Since it's plus, we want to put a minus C underneath it. We also got to put a minus C underneath that negative 3C. Okay, so what will happen? Negative 3C minus, remember that's a 1C there, will be negative 4C. Our negative 12 will come down, equals negative 5 will come down, and then the C's will cancel out because they go away. So now we moved our number. The next thing we have to move, now we moved our letter. The next thing we're going to have to do is our number. So to do that, we're going to have to add this 12. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other number on the other side of that equal sign. Okay, so what will happen? These 12's will cancel. Our negative 4C will come down. And then negative 5 plus 12 is positive 7. Remember the last step we always do, we always have to divide by this number out here. So this is going to be a negative 4. So those will cancel out, and you get C equals. Now 7 doesn't divide in, negative 4 doesn't go into 7. So remember, anytime that happens, we just leave it as a fraction of negative 7 over 4. Now in the next example, we have a couple of fractions. And remember, the easiest way to get rid of these fractions is just by getting rid of them. So we look at our two denominators here, and we look, what is the number that they both go into? The number that they both go into in this case is 3, because they are both 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of these tops and multiply it by 3. So each one of the numbers I need to sit here and multiply by 3. So what that will give me, that will multiply, that gives me 12 over 3x plus 3 times 2 is 6 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And then 3 times 3 is 3, and then that 3 just comes underneath it. And now we can divide them out. So 12 divided by 3 gives me 4x. 3 divided by 3 is 1x. And now we're back to where we started. So remember, we have to move the letter furthest on the right, which is this positive 1x here. To do that, we're going to have to put a negative 1x underneath it. And I'm also going to have to do it under the 4x on the other side. So we get 4x minus 1x, which is 3x. Our 6 is going to come down. A negative 21 will come down. Those 1x's will cancel out. Then you got to move your numbers from the left to the right. So our number furthest on the left here is 6. So we got to put a negative 6 underneath it on both sides. So the 3x will come down. And 6's will cancel out. And then negative 21 minus 6 gives me an answer of negative 27. And then lastly, you always have to divide by that number in front of the x. In this case, it's 3, so we're going to divide by 3. And we get our x answer of x equals negative 9. So here we still have another fraction, and again, remember to get rid of the fraction, you have to multiply by the common denominator. The common denominator is going to be 2, since they're both 2 there. So we're going to multiply each one of these numerators by 2. Remember, you got to do to every number. So that's going to give me 2 over 2x minus 2x equals 12 plus 6 over 2x. I know I'm running out of room there, so we'll do the best we can. 6, that's a 6 over 2x. So we're going to divide it out. 2 divided by 2 is 1x. And 6 divided by 2 is 3x. All right, and then if we can combine like terms, we will do that. So here we have like terms. So 1x minus 2x is negative 1x. Bring down everything else. Okay, again, we got to move the letter furthest on the right, which is this case positive 3x. So we need to put a negative 3x underneath it. Whatever I do to one side, I got to do to the other. Negative 1x minus 3x is going to give me negative 4x equals, the 12 is going to come down. Those 3x's will cancel out. And then the last step, you got to divide by that number in the front of the x, which is negative 4. So those cancel out. So I'm left with x equals negative 3. So here's a couple more examples. And on these examples, we have to first distribute to get to where we need to be. So we're going to distribute the first left side. So 5 times y is 5y. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Equals, and then do the same thing to the other side. 7 times 2y, which is 14y. 7 times 1, which is 7. And now we're just back to where we just were. So again, find the number further with the letter furthest on the right, which is positive 14. So write negative 14y underneath it. And whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. So 5y minus 14y is negative 9y. Bring down your negative 20. The 14y's cancel. Bring down your 7. Then we got to move the number. So we got to move this negative 20 by putting a plus 20 underneath it. And you get, bring down your negative 9y equals 27. And then last step, divide both sides by negative 9. Those go away, so you get an answer of y equals negative 3. Then we go to the next side over here. So the first thing we got to do, we got to distribute that negative 2 to both of those. So we're going to get negative 2g plus 14. Okay, so that's 12 is going to have to come down. Then we got to do the same thing over here, which is going to give me 3g plus 12. Remember, we're multiplying there. This 3g is going to come down. Okay. Then we said, remember, if you can combine like terms, we need to. So this can combine with this. So 12 plus 14 is positive 26. Negative 2g will come down. And on this side, I can combine 3g with 3g, which gives me 6g. And the plus 12 will just come down. Okay, then we're going to finish solving. Ooh. Don't need that. Okay, remember, find the number with the letter furthest on the right, which is 6g. Since it's positive, we're going to put a subtract 6g under both of the g's. Negative 2 minus 6 gives me negative 8g. Bring down my 26. These 6g's will cancel. Bring down my 12. Then we got to do the same thing with the number furthest on the left, which is 26. Since it's positive, we will put a negative underneath it. Those cancel out, so we're going to get negative, I'm going to bring it over here, negative 8g equals negative 14. We're going to divide both sides by negative 8. What we get is g equals 8 over 14, or no, 14 over 8, sorry about that, 14 over 8. But we can reduce that fraction, divide the top by 2, so that's going to give me 7, the bottom by 2, which is 4. So you get an answer of 7 over 4. On the next example, we have a fraction, but we're going to do this the same way. What happens is this top number in our fraction is what's going to get multiplied to each one of those. So 1 times 18 gives me 18. 1 times 12t gives me 12t. And then you just put them both over that 3. On the other side, we're still going to keep that. We're doing the same thing. 6 times 2t is 12t. 6 times negative 7 is negative 42. We can go ahead and divide this out. So to divide it out, 18 divided by 3 gives me 6. 12 divided by 3 is 4t. Okay. Then we're going to take the number with the letter furthest on the right, which is 12t. Since it's positive, we're going to put a minus 12t underneath it. Minus 12t there. Bring down our 6. 4 minus 12t is going to be negative 8t. 12t's cancel out. Gives me negative 42. Then we're going to have to move our number furthest on the left to the right. So that's 6. Since it's positive, we're going to make it negative, and we have to do it to the other side as well. Those will cancel out. So bring down your negative. You're going to get negative 8t equals negative 48. Divide both sides by negative 8. Negative 8. So you're going to get t equals 6. All right, the next example, same thing. We're going to multiply it out. So 1/2 times b is going to be 1b over 2. That's going to give me minus 2 over 2. On this side, it's going to give me 2b over 6. And that's going to give me 4 over 6. Now remember, we can't divide these fractions out. So what we're going to have to do is multiply everything by the common denominator that they all have. And 2 and 6 both go into 6. So we're going to multiply each one of these tops by 6. So what we're going to get is 6b over 2 minus 12 over 2 equals 12b over 2 over 6 plus 24 over 6. Now we're going to divide them all out. 6b divided by 2 is going to be 3b. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 12b divided by 6 is 2b. And 24 divided by 6 is 4. Find the number furthest on the right and move it to the left. So that's going to be negative 2b on both sides because it's positive there. So 3b minus 2b is just going to be 1b or b. Our minus 6 is going to come down. Those will cancel. It gives you 4. And then you got to move your number furthest on the left to the one furthest on the right. So by adding 6, we will do that here. So we bring down our b, so we're going to get b is equal to 10. All right, so in this case, we have some special cases. So the first thing we need to do is, again, distribute. So we're going to get 2x plus 8, because that's not going to do anything. 2x plus 8 equals, that's going to give me 5x minus 35. And then this minus 3x is just going to go in the back. Okay, we do have like terms here, so we want to combine those. 5x minus 3x is going to be 2x. Bring down our negative 35. Bring down the rest of it. Now what happens in this case, the reason we call them special cases, we look for the number furthest on the right to move it to the left. Okay, so that's a 2x. We're going to subtract it. We're going to subtract it. Now what happens here is you notice that cancels and that cancels, leaving you with 8 equals negative 35. Is that a true statement? The answer is no. This can never happen. And since that can never happen, our final answer in this case would be no solution. All right, let's try the other side. The next one. Again, we're going to distribute. 6 times q is 6q. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. Everything else is going to come down because we have nothing to do with that. Then we need to combine both. We need to combine these. So negative 18 minus 10 gives me negative 28. The 6q will come down. And again, we're going to try to move this 6q by subtracting it. And what's going to happen again, they're both going to cancel out. So that's going to cancel, that's going to cancel. You're left with negative 28 equals negative 28. But in this case, that is a true statement. Those are the same number. That works. The reason that we do that, we call this the identity. Identity. Okay, this means that they are the same on both sides of the equal sign. All right, we have one last example. It's a word problem. Okay, so when we're doing a word problem, remember you read it from left to right. So let's start it 5 times. The way we write that is simply 5 parentheses. We have the sum of a number and 3. Well, sum meaning plus. So a number is x, so it's going to be x plus 3. Then it says, is the same as. Well, in the same as means equals in this case. And it says 3 multiplied by. So 3, again, 3 multiplied by is 3 parentheses. And then it says 1 less than twice the number. Now, the way we write this is going to be 2x minus 1. Remember, this word than here actually takes these two things and switches it around. All right, so now that we've set it up, we can go ahead and solve. So let's distribute. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Again, find the number with the letter furthest on the right, which is 6x. Since it's positive, we need to put a negative 6x there, and also under the 5x. 5x minus 6x is negative 1x. Bring down our 15. These 6x's cancel. We're going to bring down our negative 3. Then we find the number furthest on the left and move it to the right. Since it's positive, we're going to make it a negative 15. Bring down a negative 1x. So those 15s cancel out. Negative 3 minus 15 is negative 18. We're not done yet because we still have this negative in front of that x here. So we need to get rid of that by dividing by negative 1. And we get our final answer of x equals 18.